What's up, everybody? I'm here with another book review. This time I want to talk about a book in the original Goosebumps series. This is Be Careful What You Wish For. I have 4 editions of this book, and 2 of them are the exact same thing, basically, but I still have 2 copies for a reason that I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, I have this edition that came out with the Goosebumps Horrorland series were coming out. This is the like tie-in books. This doesn't really tie in that much, I don't think, to the series. It's been a while since I read Horrorland, but don't think it has a lot to do with it. I think it was just, a cash grab, probably, but this one has some special features in it. It has a thing about some ghosts. It has like fortune teller like things about, like, if you flip a coin in a pond or in a fountain. It has like the whole thing where you like trace your lines on your hands, different things like that. And I have 2 copies of this, and the only reason I have 2 is because one says a different thing. One says now major motion picture, and the other one is like from what is it? The original series from the Master of Fright. That's the only reason I have 2, is because they say 2 different things. I don't really need to, but yeah. I have this copy that I got from my fiance, that I got for Christmas, that I'm very blessed to have. I love this. Very awesome cover art. This is when Tim Jacobus went back and redone the series. Yeah, done a really good job at the description of Clarissa here, because she's described as like this lady that you can't really tell the age on. She's really old and young looking at the same time. So I do agree with that. And the most iconic cover in the series that I think is this one. This is the one that I grew up with, and yeah. So when I was a kid, I remember my dad telling me, "Hey, there's a bunch of Goosebumps books at Goodwill. We got to talking," and he's like, "Let's go get them." And looking back, I think that's kind of crazy because, like, even if there's Goosebumps now at a Goodwill, they're not going to be there very long. They're going to be gone. But this time, I remember it was like one weekend. He said he seen them, and we went later that day, or later that week, and got them. It was something like that. And I found this and a few other books along with it. I don't remember precisely which ones. I know that You Can't Scare Me was in there, and it was just like a stack of books. And I got this one and, a bunch of others. And I remember showing a friend of mine, like, hey, look at this, and I had like a stack of books, about that high. And I remember him thinking, or him telling me that, like, wow, you're insane. You got like a ton of books. Little did he know. But yeah. I remember staying home from school one day, reading this, and thinking it was just boring. Absolutely terrible. Thinking that this was the worst book ever. And I remember years later, I got with a friend of mine, and I talked him into reading this series, and he read this one, and he said about the same thing. He said it was really boring, dull, not a lot happening. And it turns out that this is more of a divisive book. But I'm here to tell you that I had a ton of fun with this book. So the story starts off with Samantha Bird. She is she's a basketball player at the school. She's very tall, and she gets picked on a lot by these 2 main girls. One in particular named Judith, and her friend named Anne or Anna. Um, they call her Stork. They say this thing like, "Bird, why don't you fly away?" Like, they constantly pick on her. One day at school, they trip her, and she falls into this tapioca pudding stuff, and it gets all of her shoes, and she's very frustrated. She gets on her bike and rides home, and it starts raining, and she sees this lady on the side of the road, and she stops and asks her, does she need any help? Because, she's just wandering in the street with rain pouring down on her, and cars are like veering out of the way not to hit her. Um, this lady introduces herself as Clarissa, and she is very weird. She says things like the rain washes away evil or something like that, and she's very creepy. Like, I when I first started reading this, I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't like this. Like, why? Because this is cool. This lady's creepy. This lady's weird. Whatever. So Samantha asks her, does she need any help? She says, yeah, I need help getting to this place like across the street or something. And Samantha helps her, tells her which way to go. And when she does, she says, "Hey, I'll grant you 3 wishes for helping me." So Samantha is kind of weirded out about this. Like, I don't have any wishes, and this, that can't happen. But she eventually does to let Clarissa just kind of get off of her back, and she wishes to be the strongest player on the basketball team. She gets home that night and she plays her brother in basketball, and he, beats her or whatever. And she's still not any good, so she doesn't. She thinks this thing is just from this crazy lady. She doesn't think anything of it. She gets to school the next day, or a basketball game, and she plays, and she is the strongest player on the basketball team. Only, everyone else is just weak. They fall asleep. They can barely move. They're struggling. And I remember reading this, and I think this is where the book was just kind of boring to me because I'm not really big on reading about sports. And I think that's what really threw me off. And I will say that part is still a little kind of slow. But after this, I think it picks up a little bit better because the next day the girls doesn't come don't come to school, the ones that were like really weak and stuff. And Samantha thinks that she wished them, like they're gonna die. And I thought that was so dark, because they keep getting weaker and weaker. So she checks. She ends up going to the girl's house, and the girl says, "Are you a witch or something? Because you put a curse on us because we're like, we're weak, and you're the only one that's not sick." So yeah, Clarissa ends up finding Samantha like at her house or something. Very weird. And so Samantha wishes another wish, and this one is for Judith to disappear. And the next day, Judith does indeed disappear, but so does everyone else. Another great wish. I thought this part was really cool because there is nobody here. It's very sad, very dreadful. Um, yeah, really crazy stuff. So she eventually wants to fix her third wish, and her third wish, she wishes that Judith, everything would go back to normal, and Judith would just think that Samantha is just like the best person ever, basically. And this part is also pretty weird and actually kind of hilarious because Judith starts dressing like Samantha, wears her hair in like a side ponytail thing, starts telling her like how great fashion she does. She wants to get braces because she got braces. There's even a scene where she like just shows up at her house uninvited and says that she sleeps in her closet and waited for her to get home, which was really cool and disturbing. But yeah. So yeah, that's basically the three wishes, and there's a climax, and I'm not gonna reveal it. But other than the climax, I absolutely think this book was perfect. It's not for everyone, I wouldn't think, because the ending is. I really wanted to get this thing 5 stars because I was fully engaged. This was a book that I did not like as a kid and absolutely loved as an adult. And yeah, this was a very fun reread, and I know there's not a lot of people that's probably gonna agree with me. This is a very divisive book. The ending, if it would have been a little bit something different, I think that I would have liked it, and I kind of do like it, but it's like I can't say that that's perfect because it's really not. But yeah, be careful what you wish for. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's very solid, better than a lot of the 4 out of 5 star books. I would say just off the top of my head. But yeah, Be Careful What You Wish For is a very good book. Clarissa is creepy. The wishes are actually kind of scary and dreadful. And even the ending, the very final, like, the last wish was funny and disturbing at the same time. So yeah, Be Careful What You Wish For. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Please let me know in the comments below, what did you think about Be Careful What You Wish For? I know that there's no one really out there that's gonna agree with me on this. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.